Hey there, viewers, and we are live once again. This time, no guerrilla style filming, no portrait mode. We are good. So yeah, this will be a little bit more like the kind of live streams that you may be accustomed to, had you been watching our channel for the last 7 years. And of course, we started out with the ever popular fake news alarmist weather reports. But, you know, little news flash, and you can see this reiterated in the description. We're taking space weather mainstream, all right? Space weather is going mainstream, and we're part of it. Tamitha Skov and this channel are the future of space weather. So, thanks for tuning in, everybody who has realized that the channel exists. Congratulations on that. Look at all the sunspots. That is just awesome, especially if you like space weather. Now, if you're spooked of the sun, you know, the provider of all life and energy on Earth, essentially, then, I don't know, you might be spooked of all those sunspots, but there is no reason to be spooked of space, spooked of the sun. I mean, that's insane. And by the way, even if it were about to cause a global cataclysm, what are you going to do about it? A heapin' helpin' nothing. You're going to do absolutely nothing about it. But that's not even a thing. So, yeah, and good morning to SV Thora Sailing. That's, let's see. I'm getting better with name memorization. Dirk, right? Great name, by the way. We're going to show lots more images of the sun. The background, that's Cygnus, by the way, in the background. And yeah, thanks for joining us and joining us at warp speed. So check it out. Cosmic ray flux remains at a 20-year low. All right? Look at this line right there. The -10 line. We're only just above that. So we're in between the -10 line and the -5 line. That is percentage-wise of cosmic ray flux density. And check it out. 20-year low. The last time we saw cosmic ray flux levels this low was all the way back in 2004. So that's good news. That's an indication that the sun is absolutely not shutting down. Nothing spooky is going on. Energy from space is not increasing. So all of that nonsense that various channels that cover space weather, and when I say cover, I mean spout utter nonsense about it. I mean, look, embrace the tinfoil hat if you like, but you probably shouldn't believe nonsense about things that are serious. So with the emphasis on private space flight, some people idiotically think that we're going to colonize Mars, which is a really, really stupid idea. However, like, if somebody wants to go to Mars to visit, I mean, it's a nice place to visit, perhaps, but you definitely wouldn't want to live there. Neutron rain every morning? Really? Is that what you want? Is that what you want with your life? Neutron rain? You want beta beta decay happening, like, right on you? Like, what? Mars is not a place to create a colony. And nobody's terraforming Mars. What? Who was it that thought, I won't mention any names, but I know who it is, who idiotically said, well, I know what we can do. We can just send a bunch of nukes to Mars, and then we'll just nuke the polar ice caps, and that way we'll create the greenhouse effect. Mars will get warmer, and it'll turn into Earth like magic. Poof. All right, I got to stop ranting about that. And by the way, I am handling your comments. Thanks to everybody who's left them. Thanks all 2 of you who have left the comments. Thanks to Mike and to Dirk. And no propaganda will be propagated on the channel. All right? We're only interested in truth, facts. I mean, look, the reason that my credibility is so high, chicks dig me, all right? Why is that? Because I have 0 baggage and I have 100% credibility. So, don't like it? Too bad. They're still going to like me no matter how much you're mad about it. So, yeah, cheers. Here is our, Our Enlil spiral it's the Huxt forecast. I don't know what it stands for, but it's going to show us the likelihood of incoming CMEs. And while a bunch of CMEs have happened, including some major ones, there is a coronal hole high-speed stream on the way, as you can see from that animation. So let's move on here and talk about some various other things. So, if you've got something in particular you'd like to talk about in the comments section, then let us know, and we'll be more than happy to cover it, perhaps. And if you leave a super chat, we are guaranteed to cover it. So, yeah, and look for this channel to be blowing up, by the way, because guess what? Guess who's about to hire an SEO marketing agency? Yeah. So sunspot number is now flattening out here at 168, 169 sunspots. So that's pretty serious. Look, it's higher than the average, which is that blue line there. Yeah, sunspot number now at almost 170 sunspots. So here's our radio flux data. Let me just shrink that down a little bit for you there so we can show the whole thing. So yeah, radio flux is above 150 solar flux units. Space Weather Enthusiast dashboard not forecasting any geomagnetic storms, and I would tend to agree. There's nothing on the way. Let's take a look at filaments while we're chilling. Covering space weather first thing, and DAG. There are some big filaments. So that's always exciting. Check it out. Especially that one up in the upper left. So that would be the northeastern limb. Some major plasma filaments up there. I think that one's deserving of a name, and if you want to name solar filaments after your friends, your foes, or even yourself, join us over on Twitter and follow the hashtag #NameThatFilament. Yeah, hashtag #NameThatFilament. We name solar filaments after living people. They can be brain dead, but they have to be physically and technically alive. So if you want to if you have like a favorite vegetable who's on life support, yeah, you can name the filament after them. Just hit us up, tag me in the Smash News Network in the Twitter post, and preferably post an image like with an arrow so that we know which filament you're talking about. That one in the northeast is certainly name-worthy. So if you folks don't name it, I might do it myself. So hey, you know somebody who ought to be into space weather but isn't? Name a solar plasma filament after them, and they'll feel like a special celebrity. As far as the X-ray flux goes, it's not half bad. I mean, we're seeing some M-class events happening here, so not too bad there. 2, 3, 4 M-class flares in the past 24 hours there. So yeah, lots of activity. And while I briefly bring up another series of images from SDO, a lovely animation, allow me to speak from the testes. Now, I'm not going to speak from the testes. That would be weird. Allow me to speak from the heart. We really appreciate all of our viewers, and it's been super exciting over the past pushing 7 years now. I mean, really, we've been at it for even more than that, but I mean, in earnest, we're pushing 7 years on daily space weather content, and it's just been a delight making all kinds of friends from all around the world. So, I mean, that's always the most exciting thing, whether you're doing multiplayer gaming, whether you're, making YouTube content, maybe you're an Instagram influencer. It's all really cool because you get to connect with people that you would not otherwise connect to, and that's what's so exciting about this sort of stuff is, the people, as you're what's important about all of this stuff. It's not about the cash. It's not even about the science. It's certainly not about farming views. We put up content to enrich people's lives, and I'm an expert on quite a few things. So, yeah. I mean, we even get negative comments about the cycling content. Like, people are like, why are you putting up cycling content? Tell us about doomsday. it's like, oh, okay, I'll tell you about doomsday. In fact, let me tell you about doomsday now. By the way, that's the last 3 days of ionized helium on the closest star from SDO. And let me tell you about doomsday. Doomsday is nowhere near upon us. Our finest days lie ahead. And so, like, make the most of it. Like use these facts in your planning. Because there ain't no apocalypse happening, okay? Like, maybe the veil's being lifted. Oh, no. Are you scared of that, too? Really? Are you scared of the veil being lifted, folks? Oh, no. People are going to have more discernment. Oh, the veil may be lifting. Oh, get in your bunker. Yeah. So, all right, what do we have here? We see comments. None of these are comments that really need to be. Oh, Mike says that Mars will be terraformed over 10,000 years. Okay. Let's just assume that you're correct. I have but one question for you there, Mike. Since you're such an expert in now, I guess, terraforming, which is not even a thing. It's just made up by Star Trek. How would we terraform Mars over 10,000 years? You are nuts for saying such a thing. So, enjoy that. Maybe seek psychiatric help. How would we terraform Mars over 10,000 years? It's a ridiculous claim. So, lull? I mean, lull. Like, I can't even laugh because it's kind of tragic that you believe such things. Dirk says there was a guy in Canada that showed videos of rockets launching to the moon. He's passed away recently. Okay. What else do we have? Looks like people are arguing in the comments. We always love that. Now, by the way, folks, please press the like button, press the share button. If you're new to the channel, press subscribe. Because, look, we need your help to get the videos onto people's screens. And, man, look at the CME that launches here. Let me, I'm going to rock that back for you here. It's pretty cool. Right in here. I'm going to slow that down. Look at that CME there on the southern limb. The southern polar region there, just west of the South Pole. Awesome CME popping off there. And just look at those filaments, folks. Those filaments are bonkers. I mean, this one up here that is name-worthy. Maybe name it after somebody with a V in their name, right? Since it's shaped like a V, that might be fitting. You better follow us on Twitter and tag the hashtag. Tag me in the post and tag me in the post and put up the hashtag, name that filament. Otherwise, I might name that after Vic Vaughn. And who wants that? You really want me to name it after Vic Vaughn? Is that what you want? I mean, really? By the way, there is a permanent invite link to our Discord channel in the description to this video. And it will remain there. Let's put up our house favorite wavelength here. So if you ever want to send me an instant message and say, hey, there was a new tsunami alert that went out this morning. Yeah, there was a 6.5 near Papua, somewhere north of Australia. But it was unlikely to have produced a tsunami. And even if it did, it's unlikely to produce any tsunamis in the Western world. So, yeah, there's our house favorite wavelength, 171 angstroms. And let's talk news stories, because this is going to be a shorter stream. So it's going to be much more visually appealing than the ones that we've been doing, which are, in portrait mode instead of landscape mode, because I was filming them guerrilla style on the mobile device. But this is vastly superior, as you can see. I mean, look at the quality. What's really weird is that when we shoot a video like this, highly produced studio video with all kinds of features, we get less views than when we shoot a gorilla video in portrait mode. So, okay. Yeah. So yeah, don't forget to type a comment. Even if you're viewing the video not live, we do read all comments. There are the past 3 days of SDO delightfulness. Delightfulness? I guess just delight would really be the right term there. It's so good. It just makes me feel the golden, warm love of the sun. It's so fantastic. Just look at it. Just excellent. Anyway, let's talk about Earth news here for a minute. We'll even cover some weather stuff, and I'll show you some spectacular visuals. Not through a phone camera, but through screen sharing. So, let's talk about some news stories here, as I'm sure there are some. There always are some. And again, if you can always contribute to the channel via Discord. So it's just like sending me an instant message, folks. And by the way, in the future, when we do live streams that have panels or guests, we're going to be using Discord a lot. So there's actually a new podcast coming out that's going to be on Saturday nights called The Ballbanger's Head. Yes, it is a riff on the Headbanger's Ball for all of you who recall that. We'll be eating desserts like cake and cookies and ice cream and things like that, and talking about metal. Not only metal, I mean, I'm sure the conversation will evolve into things besides metal, because it's all related, baby. I mean, metal is largely the blues, right? The way that rock and roll has evolved over the years has been, shall we say, interesting. Anyway, let's talk some news stories here, because I have certain sources that I like to look at, so let's do it. This time we're going to kind of go backwards, all right? So we're going to start out with some more edgy stuff, and then we're going to move into some less edgy stuff. All right, let me check the comments here real quick. Oh, Mike's explaining how we're going to terraform Mars over 10,000 years. Yeah, okay. Let's pick this apart. Is this going to be a complete waste of my time, Mike? Because Dirk says 2032 we pass into the torrid belt. John Hancock. I don't know what that's supposed to mean. Mike says carbon output machines. Yeah, they're carbon output machines. Okay, yeah, that's a thing. And they're going to magically appear on Mars. Greenhouse gas injections. Oh, injections, huh? What are we going to do? We're going to take carbon dioxide from Earth and we're going to ship it to Mars and then inject it? Like, what are you talking about? Try taking basic physics. Like, what? Carbon dioxide injections? Dude, just stop embarrassing yourself. Stick to things that you understand anything about. Solar mirrors, nuclear heating. Water should start to melt in around 5,000 years. We got to build up the biosphere. Robot habitation in humans around 10,000. Dude, get serious. I mean, oh my gosh. Like, you're adorable. You're adorable. You're just not consistent with anything in reality. Bruce, there he is. Check it out. The Batman from Brazil. It's Bruce Minas. Oh, yeah. Bruce's precious skin is going to melt under this spooky sun. Oh, no. Oh, the sun is turning white. There's X-rays are making it all the way to the ground, and dogs and cats are living together in total chaos. And we're going to be haunted by spooky ghosts because the planes of existence are bleeding together. Somebody has opened up a gateway to hell like in Buffy the Vampire Slayer, and we're all very spooked about it. Very spooked, I promise. Folks, I gotta grab something. I'll be right back. I have to do a wardrobe adjustment, so bear with me. That's better. And if you didn't know, I put a video up about wardrobe, as I'm a clothing snob. As you can see, I'm only willing to wear certain things on the bike because it has to either be the team or it has to be like sponsors and my own brands. I collect military camouflage. I made a short about it today. Just don't get this confused with military camouflage, because this is Vietnam Tiger Stripe, and Vietnam Tiger Stripe was never issued. This was made by Special Forces. They probably got grease all over their stuff and realized it makes them a little bit better at nighttime. Don't put black on modern camouflage. Why is that? Does anybody know? Would anybody like to, comment on why modern camouflage doesn't have black? Here's why. Black is an extremely, extremely unnatural color. Go out in the woods sometime. Find how many black things you can find. You'll find almost nothing. Parts of insects are black, but even like a rotten log, it's just dark brown. There's almost nothing black in nature. And what does that mean? Well, from the perspective of the military, modern militaries use night vision. And when you have something that is black, you pop right out. It stands out like a sore thumb. So that's why there's no black in modern camouflage. Just put it out there. So yeah, I collect military camouflage, not to be confused with this. Vietnam Tiger Stripe is cool, and it's really good camouflage, especially if you're in like really lush, dark woods, like if it's full of rhododendrons and things like that. This works well, especially if it's like darker, if it's like a cloudier day, things like that. I'll probably be on woodland camo for life. But there is multicam in my future. And the next two camouflages that I want to get, and if any of you collect, let us know in the comments what your favorite military camouflages are. The next two that I'm going to get some Spetsnaz camo. That would be Russian Special Forces. And I'm going to get some Chinese camo, because there's some spectacularly good Chinese camo out there. And look, I'm not going to go dressing up like if some kind of war happened, right? I wouldn't go dressing up as the enemy. Don't dress up as the enemy, folks. You'll be shot on sight for that. So, just so you know, a little bit of military tactical. When you try to disguise yourself as the enemy, they don't take kindly to that. Everybody knows this. That's why you don't just go wearing the opposite uniform. Yeah. So let's see what we have here as far as news stories go. And again, this stream's going to be a little bit shorter, so that's why we're kind of blasting through. Because solar activity isn't that exciting, but we do have a lot of sunspots, so that's pretty sweet. We may be seeing a double peak of solar cycle 25 forming. And everybody knows that the second peak can be higher than the first peak. So while we are seeing sunspots migrating closer and closer to the equator, as you do as the cycle progresses, we are seeing a really big uptick in sunspots right now. So that's good times. So, and again, of course, if you have news stories that are relevant to anything in life, feel free to leave a comment about them. All right, let me get to the comments here. What else do we have? Yeah, Bruce's skin is going to melt under the sun, although it's winter time down there in Brazil, so he's probably chilling. The sun is so evil that it brings life to this planet. That's right. Yeah, the sun, if you're frightened of the sun, you should probably remind yourself that you need psychiatric help. But if you refuse to do that, just remember that it pretty much is the source of all life on the planet. So yeah, the sun is your friend. Look at it. I have it right here. I like wear it on my back and on my front, and like, if it's too Luciferian for you folks, please press unsubscribe. All right, please press unsubscribe if my stating of facts is too illuminating. All right. If you think I'm the light bringer, oh no, put your superstitions in full overdrive and unsubscribe from the channel today, and then don't leave a comment about it. Our feelings will be crushed. All right, what else do we have here? What else do we have? Just getting through your comments here real quick. Oh, that sounds interesting. Bruce says if we don't talk about politics, it's all fine. Yeah, for real. Mike says, and by the way, I'm apolitical. If you're wondering which candidate I support, the answer is none. None. Ever. I'm done. I'm done. I'm not endorsing anybody. I'm calling balls and strikes. I'm objective about it, just like I am about everything else. Your dog loves me. Your dog loves me, folks. How do I know? Because I have no pretense. I have no pretense. Chicks dig it. Your dog likes me. Deal with it. Mike says, I'm bringing coffee and averting. I'm bringing coffee and thing I need to grow weed hydroponically. What do you put coffee grounds in the soil for the nutritional components and perhaps to, lower the pH a little bit since coffee is slightly acidic? I don't know. Bruce says weed is essential. Coffee acts well. Yeah. Dehydrated food tastes so good. Yeah, that's true. I'm a huge fan of beef jerky. I got to find a source for that. I used to have a place that I went to in Northampton, Pennsylvania called Pawnee Bill's. They sold candles and beef jerky. How weird is that, right? They had like scented candles, and that was almost the entire store. And then they had spectacularly good beef jerky. I don't think they're in business anymore, or they stopped doing the jerky or something. Yeah, beef jerky is a food staple that everybody should just have laying around if you're willing to eat meat, because it's like 97% fat-free. It's pure protein. It's got sodium, because it's usually salty. Gotta find a source. Maybe I'll grab some this weekend from the farmer's market or something. And, yeah, one of the many features that makes eastern Pennsylvania so spectacular is that we are right next to the Fertile Crescent of the U.S., all right? The Fertile Crescent of the U.S. being Lancaster County, Pennsylvania, and Berks County, Pennsylvania, which is underdeveloped, by the way. If you want to start a farm, there's more than enough room for you to do it. So, and that's probably like my 5-year plan, is own goats, chickens, and a couple of cows. Of course, chickens first, then goats, because the goats protect the chickens, so there's a symbiotic relationship that happens. And then once that's established, then maybe something more crazy, right? Like couple of ponies, couple of cows, something like that. Seems like a brilliant idea. That's the 5-year plan. Anyway, just checking out some news stories here. I will only mention the ones that I find to be relevant, because there's a lot of irrelevant crap in the news at all times. So we'll go backwards here. We're going to go from the edgy news down to the financial stuff last, and then we'll close out this video with some Earth weather. So don't go nowhere. If you think it's slowing down, I'm not even warmed up. All right, so what do we got? Did you know that central banks do not prevent financial crises nor control inflation? They cause inflation, but central banks are one of the most offensive things in the world. They cause more problems than perhaps anything else that mankind could easily fix. Why is that? It's because there's no market for the largest block of business in the world. The largest block of business in the world is the interest on international and corporate loans. All right? That interest rate is artificially controlled by banks, central banks. So most major countries have central banks, and these central banks artificially adjust the prime lending rate. All right? That does all kinds of things. One, it discourages savings if your prime lending rate is too low. Okay? If the prime lending rate is too low, it discourages people from saving, which is great if you're trying to prep and put a bunch of commodities together or invest in gold and silver, right? Because those are the hedges against the inflation caused by the lowering of interest rates. However, that block of business should be controlled by supply and demand. That is how markets work in the real world. Here's how markets work in our world. A cartel of banks, which in the case of the U.S. would be the Federal Reserve, which is not the government, by the way. It is private banking interests that does not answer to the government. We don't even know which banks are represented in the Federal Reserve, because when it was formed, we did. However, after over 100 years of mergers and acquisitions, we do not know who is complete. We know some of the players in the U.S. Federal Reserve, but we actually don't even know for sure who is in charge of the Federal Reserve. So yes, the member banks are part of it, but there are private interests in there that are like not disclosed. So anyway, the effect of lowering interest rates does all kinds of things. And the reason that lower interest rates cause the stock market to get boosted, it's a completely artificial pile of crap. All right? This is why the stock market goes up when interest rates go down. And remember, the stock market is not the economy, but here's why the stock market goes up when the interest rates go down. It is because when you have really low interest rates, large corporations especially are now incentivized to pay their personnel in stock options and to buy their own stock, which artificially boosts their stock price. When you're paid in options instead of as a salary, you pay capital gains tax as opposed to income tax, which is far lower. Capital gains tax is far lower than income tax. So that's the effect of it. You get really low interest rates, it is more beneficial for Alphabet and Meta and Tesla and Apple and GM and IBM and every other giant company out there, Walmart, Target, and so on. All of these companies are now incentivized to borrow money at a really low interest rate, invest in their own stock, boosting their share price, and pay their people in stock options with borrowed money, because the increases that happen as a result of that exceed the interest rate. So that is why lowering interest rates helps large corporations, especially. What it doesn't help is consumers. So the lower the interest rate gets, the higher the inflation rate gets, because a lot of money gets borrowed, and that injects a bunch of money into the money supply, which is what actually causes inflation. People think inflation is higher prices. Inflation is not higher prices, although that is an effect of inflation. Inflation is an increase in the money supply. So if you say inflation referring to prices, you need to say price inflation. Okay? Does that make sense? Because the price is caused by too much money in the supply. If there are $1 billion available and your electricity bill is $100, and now there are $1 trillion available, now your electric bill might be $10,000 because the dollars are worth less. The more you put into the supply, the less each one of those dollars is worth. It is a devaluation of the currency. if we had instead actual competition in banking, where, it was illegal to fix prices, because guess what? Your grocery store can't fix prices. Your local grocery store chains, if they all called each other and said, we're all going to charge $5 a pound for apples, that's a crime. That's against the law. But banks do it as a regular old everyday function of business, because adjusting the prime lending rate basically creates banking monopolies. It makes sure that the biggest banks are in charge. The FDIC is nonsense. It's not federal, it's not deposit, and it's not insurance. The FDIC, the Federal Deposit Insurance Commission. So, don't get me started. If you think that you're an economics wonk, debate me on anything, and I will squash you. All right? Peter Schiff could take me, but few and far between is anybody else who can take me in an economics debate. I know more about it than you do. I was a day trader back in 1999, and learning how to trade stocks did not an economics wonk make. However, once I learned about the rest of the economy, because again, the stock market's not the economy, I became a real finance expert. I am a licensed insurance agent. I've never gotten a Series 6 or anything like that, Series 7, 63, nothing like that. But that doesn't change. Some people, let's put it this way. Some people are actually self-taught, and some people claim that they're self-taught. Know the difference, because on YouTube, there certainly is a stark difference. All right, what else do we have? Let me get to your comments again, then I'll talk about some more news stories. Yeah, but central banks do not prevent financial crises. Central banks cause financial crises. And in the U.S., by the way, if certain folks get their way and the central banks, the Federal Reserve decides to lower interest rates, guess what? Inflation's going to increase. Gold and silver and copper and palladium and platinum prices are all going to increase. In fact, all commodity prices will increase, because that is the instant indicator of lower interest rates. Inflation. So there's that. Let's see. Oh, Apple's being accused of unequivocal antitrust violation for favoring OpenAI in App Store rankings. So this is another way that big business is unethical. All right? They manipulate search results. So Apple manipulates search results in their App Store. Everybody does this. So no matter what big tech has destroyed the internet. The internet has been ruined for a decade now. It's 2025. The internet was ruined by 2013, probably, maybe 2012. So yeah, this manipulation of search results, as opposed to returning the result that has the most searches for it. Google used to be a very simple search engine. That's what made it the world's largest search engine. But now they've created a bidding war. And that's why your search results don't look right. If you search for a thing that has a lot of paid advertisements for it, you might have to go 12, 50, 400 pages deep in your search results to find a thing that you searched for. So yeah, it's really a problem. The way the internet has been shattered in the past decade is it's not going to stand. History will not smile upon the censorship and the manipulation of search results and the disinformation and the misinformation that's promoted in places like YouTube. I mean, it's going to really look dark when people 100 years from now look back on this time, what's going on with economics, what's going on with information technology. It's all these companies, they build planned obsolescence into everything. They have no interest in making sure that these devices work well. There is zero incentive for big tech to make an app that works. The app only has to spy on you. It does not have to function as an app at all. And this is why there's not one single app that's bug-free. How do big tech companies measure the performance of an app? Does anybody know? It's based on engagement, not productivity. What does that mean? That means the more time of yours that is evilly wasted trying to get this thing to like type something and function correctly. All that time that's wasted, good luck getting a refund on that, folks. It is evil to waste people's time, energy, money. So, yeah, I mean, like these the corporation, like Alphabet is the evilest company that has existed in the history of mankind. Like, there may have been an eviler one if there was some other civilization like a million years ago that had a worse company than that. But, you know, based on what happened in 2020 and moving forward, I think it's really over the top. Google owns like 60% of the world's servers. There's a reason why they removed "Don't Be Evil" from their corporate charter, and that is because their lawyers probably said, if you have "Don't Be Evil," that means that you know you have the capacity to do evil, and that's going to be a liability for you. So get that out of there. Don't talk about the evil that you do. And by the way, the spyware that's installed on your device, it is designed to send your browsing habits to Indian and Chinese market makers, because there are over 1 billion people in both of those countries. So that's what's happening. That information is being sold to market makers in especially those two places. I mean, also everywhere, but also, you know, in where you are in Europe, South America, everywhere, because that's considered valuable, right? The way that you shop on Amazon is valuable to an Indian or Chinese retailer for some reason, as if Westerners shop or think the same way as people in Asia. It's just ridiculous. Let's see. It's pretty boring news day here. Nothing really very exciting. Gonna check a couple other news sources here before I get to the financial stuff. And what do we have? 5 takeaways as Trump seizes control of D.C. police and deploys National Guard. Yeah, Washington, D.C., it's definitely not a place to visit or to live. It's not a nice place to visit, and you don't want to live there. It's been one of the highest crime cities in the U.S. for decades. So I don't know. I wouldn't go there anyway. Like, I don't even go to Philadelphia because I don't like Mayor Jim Kenney. I think he's a corrupt criminal. And so I don't even go to Philadelphia. I mean, big cities are an abomination. Like, not a fan of big cities. And, you know, in modern times with remote work and with, with the transportation that we have available, and with things being where they should be instead of just shoved in a city that just sprawls apart forever. Do we really need cities, folks? Do we really need cities? Let us know in the comments what you think. Do you think we actually need cities? I certainly don't think we need cities. I don't think they need to exist. I think they are a vestige of the logistical past. The only reason cities exist is because of logistics. That's it. It's because you have to have the stuff together so that you have the right people and the right stuff in the right place at the right time. But, I mean, it's not necessary anymore. It's like, why? Why do you need a city? Have railways that connect the industrial areas and the shopping areas and the residential areas. And a city is a completely outdated concept. It doesn't need to exist. I mean, it's a complete disaster. Like, everything about it, just having that many people shoved together. Why would you want that? It's like, what? I like to stand in line forever to just simply walk down the street. Why? All right, what else do we have here? Some boring crap about politics that I'm not going to mention for 1 second because I have exactly zero interest in politics. Zero. I am as apolitical as I've ever been, and I'm only going to get more apolitical. Not interested in the hacks that run the government, because they ain't running shit and they ain't governing shit. For the most part, they're just beep, 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 beep. It's a bunch of lip service. They're like, we're going to do this, we're going to do that. And then nothing happens and nobody holds them accountable. And then they're out of office and it's like, huh? What? Like, politics. The biggest waste of fucking time in the whole world. I can't believe people spend so much time arguing about it. You're wasting your lives on politics. Go out and do something interesting with your life. It's very sad and tragic. Warren Buffett just issued a $344 billion ominous warning to Wall Street. But are investors paying attention? Probably not. They generally never pay attention to Warren Buffett. And then 5 seconds after they don't pay attention to Warren Buffett is determined to have been correct. I mean, that's just, let's see. So he crushed the benchmark of S&P 500 over the last 60 years, which is why so many investors follow his every move. He is a value investor, so he wants to go long on companies that represent high value. In other words, a low price-to-earnings ratio. All right, you can calculate the price-to-earnings ratio on any company that prints earnings by simply taking the price and dividing it by the earnings. All right, if it's like if the PE ratio is like 10 or higher than that, then that's not a value stock. All right, and the valuations right now are completely bubbled out of proportion. There are a ton of companies who are overvalued by orders of magnitude. Like we're talking like PE ratios of like 50. That was the kind of stuff that we saw during the tech bubble of 1999. Remember what happened there? Yeah, there's a crash coming because a correction always happens. The U.S. stock market is going to continue on an upward trend over a long term. And over a short term, bubbles always eventually burst. And talk about a bubble. I mean, all of these pioneers in AI, how could you have more of a bubble than imaginary intelligence? AI should be called II, imaginary intelligence, because there ain't none. Large language models are not intelligent and don't even begin to resemble intelligence in any way. 10 stocks we like better than Berkshire Hathaway. So anyway, Berkshire Hathaway is Warren Buffett's company, one of the top performing funds probably in history. And what's he saying now? Berkshire Hathaway's more than 5.6 million% gain spanning 6 decades. That's right. Berkshire Hathaway has gone up 5.6 million% over the past 60 years. Yeah, because Warren Buffett is a hell of a lot better than you and a hell of a lot better than me at evaluating individual stocks, funds, bonds, commodities, and so forth. He's overseen the neighborhood of 6 acquisitions. He's also responsible for managing a $293 billion portfolio, which is spread across more than 3 stocks. In this portfolio that investors watch like a hawk. Anyway, I really want to hear what this warning is for Wall Street, but it's taken a long time for the article to get to it, and it's frankly pissing me off. Oh, look, the article mentions PE ratio. Why is that? Because some of us understand economics, and some of us say, Bitcoin is the hedge. Bitcoin is digital gold. What a joke. Cryptocurrency is a liability. The blockchain is a liability, not an asset. Deal with it. How much is your Bitcoin worth if the power goes out? How much is your gold worth if the power goes out? Same amount. How much is your Bitcoin worth if the power goes out? Anybody like to comment? And I'll get to your comments here. I see a bunch of them have been coming through. I will grab them in a minute. I just want to hear what this article, clickbait, is actually about. What is this? Warren Buffett is telling investors something. Not through what he's said, but through his actions, with the balance sheet of his investments. These actions should be taken as a warning sign, with the stock market reaching elevated valuation levels in recent months. Wow, it almost sounds like what I just said before reading the article. Isn't that incredible? What a surprise. People who understand economics know what the economy is going to do next. Geez, isn't that incredible? I can't believe we're transitioning to the financial news by a story about how Warren Buffett understands economics. Cheers. As the market and Berkshire Hathaway soar, Buffett is pulling back and building a huge cash position. Why? Because you sideline a bunch of money before the stock market crashes, and then you buy all the good values that didn't deserve to crash based on their fundamentals. Because entire sectors crash all at once, okay? If GM gets bad news, Ford goes down. If Walmart gets bad news, Target goes down. So buy the competitor stock, because the whole sectors drop at a time, because there are mutual funds that only trade in sectors. You know what? I'm not going to give you any damn advice. Consider none of this actual investment advice, as I don't have any certifications. So take it all as nothing but novelty, folks. It's just novelty. And, I don't know what I'm talking about, so definitely don't listen to me. I'm clueless. I don't have a degree in economics. I don't have a Series 6 or a Series 7. So definitely don't trade anything based on what I say. There. Is that a good enough disclaimer? Cheers. All right. We got to close this thing out ASAP here, because I am running out of time. Rapidly. And ultimately, here's another little piece of wisdom for you folks. Time. If somebody says they don't have time for something, that means that they don't have enough money to pay somebody else to do their menial tasks and chores. If you don't have time to go on a bike ride with me because you got to cut the grass, it's because you can't afford to pay somebody else to cut the grass. You've got the same amount of time as everybody else. There's 24 hours in a day. How many are in yours? You don't have time to do a thing? Are you kidding me? That is utter nonsense. You have the same amount of time as everybody else. So don't tell me you don't have time for a thing, because it's not true. You might not be lying. You might just be misrepresenting facts and lying to yourself. All right, let me see here. There's a bunch of comments. And by the way, thanks again for leaving so many. Cheers. But this is going to take me a minute, so bear with me as I, at the same time, try to accomplish 0 tasks all at once. Yeah, multitasking, right? Accomplishing 0 tasks all at once. Let's see. Just bear with me a minute. I'll hold up the phone so it's obvious that I'm looking at your comments. Consider this performance art. And my neck hurts. So, Mike, what's in my coffee? Great question. My coffee today, it actually has cocoa powder and sugar in it. So, yeah, it's almost like a cafe mocha. Yeah, cocoa powder and sugar. Regular old, everyday, processed white sugar. I'm not afraid of it. If you're spooked of it, definitely leave us a comment and tell us how spooked you are of sugar. I burn a lot of calories throughout the day, so putting a teaspoon of sugar in my coffee, it was burned up like an hour ago, probably. What is that, 24 calories or something? All right. I love how people refer to Elon Musk as Elon, as if they're on a first-name basis with him, and as if Elon cares in any way about them. They're like, Elon. Other people are called Elon, and you're not on a first-name basis with Elon Musk. He doesn't know you. He doesn't care at all about you. He's interested in Elon. Elon is interested in Elon, and he wants to look cool. He's really worried about looking cool. That's why he says cool so often, because he thinks he's going to be cool because he does the ridiculous things that he does, and some smart things. So lots of dumb things, lots of smart things. Is it a wash? Let us know what you think in the comments. Oh, I see Mike brought up fully self-crashing vehicles. Let me comment on that. Fully self-crashing vehicles are not safe on public roads, and nobody should be thinking that their car is safe on, fully self-driving mode, because they aren't fully self-driving, and that's a misleading of investors as well. Yet another reason to sell your crap Tesla stock, because their crap software is not safe for public roads. It especially endangers things like wildlife, people on bikes, pedestrians, emergency personnel, construction workers. All of those folks and other entities are much more likely to be run over and killed as this idiotic science experiment with idiotic intelligence, imaginary intelligence. Yeah, fully self-driving vehicles do not belong on public roads. If you got special designated roads that are like walled off, okay, crash together all you want. It looks like today is going to be, the market is going to open pretty flat. Dow futures are down 12. S&P futures are up 4.5. NASDAQ futures are up about 11. Oil is down 39 cents, and the U.S. 10-year bond is up. So there's some sell-off in the bond market. Stock futures trade little change ahead of the July inflation report. So July inflation report coming here. That should be interesting. And, of course, that will riff off the stuff I said about the Federal Reserve. Maybe you'll even understand why the prime lending rate has the effects that it does on currency, on commodities, on the stock market, etc. We endeavor to have our viewers understand the things that we talk about. That's why we empower them with facts as opposed to belittle them with nonsense. Yeah, stock futures trade little changed. All right, so we're going to show weather here briefly. Let me bring up a couple of maps for you, and then we'll close this mother out. So first we'll take a look at the lovely U.S. National Weather Service. It's radar.weather.gov. Yeah, radar.weather.gov. And let me press refresh because, wow, look at Lake Michigan. Hey, Chicago, there's some big surf right now. Big surf. Look at that. Dag! Yeah, the Great Lakes are very dangerous when you get storms like this because the inlets, when they get narrower, the waves get bigger and bigger and bigger as the land gets shallow. The water gets shallower and the land gets more tied together. So all of these areas where the Great Lakes meet up with each other, you get waves that are like 30-foot, 40-foot waves there. It's crazy. But right now, the surf is up. Gary, Indiana. Some killer surf at Gary, Indiana. And let me press refresh again because I clicked on something and it lit up the county maps. Oh, get rid of that. How does it go? How does it work? Go away. All right, I can't figure out how to do it. Why is it? Why? Clear map. God, I hate that. All right, so yeah, huge storm there. Just leaving Milwaukee right now. Shout out to Red Letter Media. Yeah, one of the best YouTube channels out there, Red Letter Media. Go watch their videos about the Star Wars prequels, and you'll know why I can't stand Star Wars. In 1983, I thought it was the best. Empire Strikes Back, the first 3 movies, spectacular. Everything else, I don't affirm its existence because those prequels ruined the Star Wars universe for me. So there's a radar map. We'll bring up our Saharan dust map as the Leeward Islands are going to have some delightful sunsets and sunrises from all that Saharan dust. And we'll, of course, bring up our regular old everyday satellite maps. So let's look at the shortwave. This will show you cloud cover for the U.S. as we close out this live stream. Shout out to our viewers from all around the world. Maybe we'll even talk about your weather in future live streams. If you've got requests for us to put up content of any kind, let us know in the comments about that. and we shall consider it. If I could only move this freaking pointer. All right, that's good enough. Whatever. There's a shortwave radiation map showing you clouds, even though part of the country is dark. Here is our water vapor map. We're just going to animate the whole thing. So this low that's out in the North Atlantic has actually strengthened a little bit. We see some convection happening there. And of course, the water is warm. So it's, you know, we're reaching the end of summer here. We're only about 6 weeks out from the equinox. So there's that. Oh, you want to see the fire map? All right, we'll briefly bring up the Canadian smoke map, which is spectacular. It's at firesmoke.ca, by the way. Firesmoke.ca. It's quite nice. And it will even forecast for you. So here is the smoke forecast, and dag! It is a smoky freaking place up there. Winnipeg has been plastered by the smoke. Yeah, so there's your smoke map. And back to the water vapor map. And that's where we'll close this thing out. Actually, we'll close it out with some more solar imagery. So let's bring up one more series of images here. Let's see. How about if we go with... how about 211 angstroms? We'll show coronal holes and we'll close this thing out. And just a quick reminder, coronal holes do not forecast earthquakes. Do they even correlate? Well, that's up for conjecture. Is there any forecasting or predictive value associated with coronal holes? Absolutely not. Nobody's forecasting earthquakes based on coronal holes or based on really any solar activity, period. If that were the case, we would have had that figured out a long, long time ago, indeed. So that's about where we'll have to close this thing out because it's getting late. And to quote Cyrus, F off. I've got work to do. So yeah, that's the past 3 days there. You see that massive North Pole-oriented coronal hole. Oh, if you want the information about... Yeah, we'll show that too. Let's just... let's rearrange here a little bit. I'm going to show you the magnetic sectors as well. So here's our line of sight coronal hole plot. As we are just about to move into a South Pole magnetic sector. It certainly looks like it. So there's that North Pole-oriented coronal hole that we just showed you. There you can see it from the SDO, the beautiful 211 angstroms wavelength, the optimal wavelength for showing coronal holes. There is the line of sight coronal hole plot. You can see South Pole-oriented ones moving in, and they're looking trans-equatorial, so that's good for space weather. Here is our ecliptic plane field plot. I'll give you a forecast on when the South Pole-oriented magnetic sector is about to show up. And it could be here already. So keep an eye on the real-time solar wind. You may see a signal in that. And you may see more content coming today. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. Congratulations on realizing the channel exists. We love your comments. So again, make sure you leave those, even if you didn't catch the live stream. The live streams have been definitely gaining traction, to say the least. So if you didn't know, we had one a few days ago that had 7,900 views. So it's getting pretty serious. And yeah, we're about to take this thing to the next level through some contractors, at least one contractor. And we're doing multiple things behind the scenes here, folks. So look for some new shows. There's even a new channel that we've already created the branding for. It's called Misidentified. More about that at a later time as well. It's exciting times for us and hopefully for you as well. So yeah, a couple more comments here. What do we have? Oh, you want to know about the jet stream, huh? You want to know about the jet stream? All right, I'll hook you up. See, we do requests on the channel, so let me stay for another minute or two. I'll show you the jet stream. I'll show you the whole world's jet stream. How's that? Is that a deal? Good, because this is a dictatorship. And hopefully your favorite YouTube channel isn't a dictatorship, because that's I apologize for the vulgarity. All right, so here is the jet stream scenario. There's the 250 hectopascal winds. So wow, the jet stream is really like jacked up right now. I mean that is a very like incoherent jet stream. I mean, look at it over the U.S. It's all over the place. We've got this upper level low right here in the North Atlantic. You got this huge bend, so you're getting very cold weather coming down to Lake Superior, and that's actually driving that storm that's going across Lake Michigan. You know, as you can see, this is pushing down here, and that is part of what's going on with that. There's the jet stream from the perspective of the North Pole. So, as you can see, not completely incoherent. A little bit hexagonally shaped, which seems to be a thing in the solar system. It's probably because of the bond angles of water, but maybe we'll save that physics for another video, shall we? I mean, because that's half physics and half chemistry. So here is the southern jet stream. A little more coherent there, and that's what you'd expect because cold air is more massive than warm air. So that's why the jet stream becomes more coherent in the wintertime, partially because cold air is more massive, so it has more power, it has more inertia, and so on. So, you know, that's how it works. There are your jet streams, Bruce. Here are the jet streams of the Central World, Europe, Africa, and the Near East. Last but not least, the jet streams from Munda and of the Eastern World and Oceania. Shout out to our viewers from all around the planet. Thanks for tuning in. I've been your host, Dan, a.k.a. Smash-O-Mash, signing off. And until next time, may that solar wind be at your back.